Hi, this is Admp with the US stock highlights here on Share Talk for Friday, the 22nd of January. Starting off again with Admp, where we've had this gap through $2. That was a previous target. The last time we looked at the shares, we actually overshot the runway up to $2.34, but come back. Probably the best way forward here is to see whether we get an end-of-day close above the floor of the latest gap at $1.66. You could perhaps allow down to $1.51, which was the late July peak as a near-term stop loss, but while we remain above that 150 to 166 area, we could still see upside, i.e. taking us back towards $2, and then best case scenario target by the end of next month as high as $3, which is a May 2019 resistance line projection. On to another stock which has been covered recently, and let's see how we're going at the moment. Bngo. We've got shares continuing their near-term vertical move. There's a line of resistance there around $9.10, let's call it, as a resistance. That was one of the old resistance line projection targets from May 2019. Above that on an end-of-day close basis, and we can look higher in terms of the upside, and hopefully up to a late August 2019 resistance line projection target up to $15 as soon as the end of next month. Support for this market really, I suppose, mostly around the $7 to $7.50 level at the bottom of this flag. There's also $7.24, which was the initial January resistance. I suppose that's the hard stop loss for the bulls ahead of a potential $15 target. Stock which is one that is not being covered here in quite such detail. Another bio stock, Bvxv. Here we've got the shares bottoming out after the post-October basing that we've seen for the stock. The main highlight here in the near term really is the way that we've cleared this line of resistance from the end of October. That was running around the $3.70 level. After that, we broke the neckline resistance peak of December at $4.61, and while we're above that level, $4.61 on an end-of-day close basis, looking towards the top of the rising October trend channel as high as $12.75, and that could be seen by the end of next month. Moving along to a stock which is almost certainly one that hasn't appeared here before, which is just coming up now. Fldm Core. Here you can see that there's been a gap through extended line of resistance from the end of August, and the 50-day moving average as well, which is around the $6.26 level. Above that 50-day moving average area, we're hoping for the shares to nearly double up to $11.60, ideally by the end of next month. If you're cautious on the stock, maybe you wait for a clearance of the late December resistance around $7.28 on an end of day, or obviously today a weekly close basis. That would inspire some confidence. Next situation is one where we've had pretty strong price action just over the last 24 hours or so. Tech breaking the initial January resistance at $2.29, or $2.36 rather. That's the highest level there. And while there's no end-of-day close back below that, and given we get a weekly close above that level, we can hit the top of a June 2020 price channel top as high as $5 plus over the next 4 to 6 weeks. Moving along, another bullish contender on the runway is Naov Vibronics, and here we've got gap through, we actually broke through the initial January resistance at $1.22. Above that, and following the latest gap to the upside, we're looking for $2.50, which is the top of a rising August trend channel. Time frame on the upside scenario currently seen as being as soon as the end of next month. Moving along, and plenty more to look at today, just as we end this week. First one is NTN Buzz Time, where you can see that the shares have looks like they're just emerging from the recent basing that's been in place since the end of August. Neckline resistance nominally around the $2.44 level, and while $2.88 rather, and while we're above $2.88, we're looking on an end-of-day close basis and a weekly close basis today, looking for considerable upside. That could be as high as $10. Obviously, there is the initial spike from earlier in the month up to $4.40, but $10 maybe on a 3 to 4 month basis is a possibility for NTN buzz time. The next stock is one that I've looked at quite recently, and good to see that it's doing well. Pola Power. Here we've got the shares breaking previous target around $19, while we're above the resistance line there at $19.35 on an end-of-day close basis. Got a potential fresh upside target at $28, which is a late May resistance line projection, and ideally that's hit by the end of next month. Strange perhaps that real estate is bouncing back in terms of the Pennsylvania real estate share price, but it's done very well with this gap through resistance that we had at the end of November. Great consolidation after that, and the view at this stage is that while we're above the initial January resistance at $1.62 on an end-of-day close basis, we could hit the top of a rising August trend channel from last year at $2.56. Ideally as soon as at the end of the next month, and perhaps the way things are going, even by the end of this month. 3 stocks to go now. First one is one that sounds rather familiar, Real Networks. Here you can see that we've gapped through this late May resistance line and also broken above the initial January resistance of $1.88. A weekly close above that, and while there's no end-of-day close back below that, we're looking forward hopefully to a journey where the shares hit the top of a January trend channel, currently pointing as high as $3.30, a target which may be due as soon as the end of next month. On to Riot, and here we can see that there are some signs of recovery here for Riot Blockchain. It's key really, I suppose, whether we can hold above $20.26, which was support for the shares on the way down. End of week close above $20.26, and we've got a chance of retesting all or part of the pullback in the shares from $28 plus, which was the 2021 resistance, or the initial 2021 resistance. Finishing off with an esoteric name, and 111 or 111 has broken through resistance quite a strong way. That resistance from the early part of 2019, that resistance line they're currently running at $9.65, and while there's no end of day close back below $9.65, we are banking on or hoping for an August resistance line projection at $14 to be hit as soon as the end of next month. That's it for me today. More updates on Monday.